Hello, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another 20 eBay sales over £20 video. We never did find a snappier title for that, did we? It is 20 over 20, that's as good as it gets. So these are the videos in which I share with you guys 20 things that I have bought and resold on eBay for more than £20. I haven't bought them for more than £20. I usually pay only £1 to £2 an item. If I have paid more, I'll tell you in the video. But these are all items that have sold for more than £20. And I haven't put any duds in this time. Sometimes when I do these videos I put a few duds in at the end, but I haven't this. I thought we'd just have a celebration of eBay joy this time instead of putting duds in. Before I get started, I want to mention this little gadget which I have now lost. Hang on. This little gadget was sent to me as a gift by a company who sell them through Amazon, and it is a rechargeable battery charger. So they sent me the 4 rechargeable AA batteries and the battery charger. It is so good. I'm so chuffed with it. It just plugs in. You put your rechargeable batteries in here. It just plugs directly into your outlet to charge up. This is a UK fitting, but I'm sure there is a, if you're buying in another country, I'm sure there's an alternative available. The links are in the description box for this, by the way. Isn't it fab that they sent me this? As a reseller, we get through a fair amount of AA batteries. There are quite a lot of things that need testing, and batteries don't last very long. I find when you buy, what do you call it when they're not rechargeable? Pre-charged? Single-use batteries? They don't last that long, and they sit in the drawer and sometimes they get lost in the drawer and whatever. These are fab. The fact that they also sent me a little case that the batteries live in as well to stop me losing them. The fact that they're rechargeable has saved me a fortune already since I've had them. They're really, really useful. There's a universal charger as well as the 4 AA batteries. If I just take those out, I've left 2 of the AA in to show you, but also you can charge a 9 volt. I don't have a 9 volt rechargeable battery, but I'm going to invest in one because you can recharge a 9 volt battery there. And a 9 volt is one of those funny batteries that you think you won't use very often and then you're surprised. For example, my scales, my little parcel scales, not my big ones, my little, they take a 9 volt battery. This is a fab little gadget and I'm so pleased to have it. I'm going to pop the links into the description box for you guys. Please do go and check that out if you're in the market for a rechargeable battery charger. It is a money-saving and time-saving device, I think, because I do not now spend quite as much time searching for a couple of batteries to test an item with. So thank you so much to EBL for sending me this gifted item to be able to show you guys. I'm chuffed to bits with it. I do hope you'll check out the links. Let's have a look at what I've sold recently. Okay, first up, I'm really glad to see this go because it's large. It's large and it was taking up a lot of space in my house. It is a vintage picnic basket. As you can see by the title, vintage picnic basket, unusual large wicker torpedo shape, VGC. Such an unusual item. I remember picking it up from the car boot sale. I don't remember what I paid, but I know it wasn't much. I certainly would not have paid more than a £5, I don't think. I think I probably paid under a £5. If I went back through some old videos, or maybe one of you guys will remember from an old video how much I paid. If you remember, if you've got one of those photographic memories for prices, do let me know. Either way, it won't have been more than a £5, but it's been listed a while. It took a while to go. I listed it at $49.99 and I've been waiting for it to go, and then I dropped it to $39.99 and it went really quickly after I knocked the tenner off. So I think this is the way with reselling. You have to feel your way to the right price. Sometimes you try a bit high, I think that's not working, begin to drop it. Sometimes I drop gradually, sometimes I take a chunk off. In this instance, I took off a tenner, which is 20%, and it sold straight away. Then I had to pack it. That wasn't too bad. Luckily I had quite a nice big box, but even so I was a bit kind of like, if this gets crushed. So I stuck all over it labels saying, do not crush, do not crush, do not crush. And I haven't had a message to say this has arrived pancaked. So touch wood, everything's okay. So there we go. That's my first item that sold for more than £20. These are all, by the way, did I say? These are all from mid-February to end of March. Next up, this is a Cath Kidston bag. It's called the Billy Dog bag. I had heck of a job finding the name of this bag. Sometimes the names are really easy, but I had to really search for this one. There is a tiny little dog in the picture though. I don't know if you can see him. There he is, a tiny little Scotty dog in the picture. So it is what's called a picture bag, which means one side of the bag entirely is taken up by the picture. It was in absolute mint condition, absolute brand new mint condition. Got it in the charity shop and I paid $7.99 for it. I listed it at $39.99 and I took an offer. You can see here that I took a best offer, but it doesn't tell you how much. I took an offer of £35 on that one and it sold really quite quickly after I listed it. So that was a lovely little sale. These, again from a charity shop, I fell in love with these. I love selling the M&S stacking mugs. I've sold so many of them, they sell really well. They're a consistent good seller for me. I sell them in their set, but I also sell them singly. and people buy them to complete a set, maybe if you've broken one or whatever, a spare or replacement. This set came as a set, complete with their chrome stand. I paid $4.99 for the set. They were such a really nice retro print that I knew they would sell quickly, and sure enough, they sold within 2 days of being listed. You could see from looking at them they were completely unused. There was not a mark in them. They were still pristine condition, and they've sold for $24.99. That is my average selling price for a full set of these stacking mugs. They sell for between £20 and £25. So I'm really pleased to have those picked up and gone so quickly for a good profit. Here's an interesting one. This is an Ed Hardy vintage t-shirt. Now, Ed Hardy was all the rage back in the early 2000s, and I picked up at the car boot sale 2 of these t-shirts. The other one sold a bit quicker, but this one's taken a while to go. The first one had, I think it had like a dragon and a skull on it, I think, if I remember rightly. This one's taken a bit longer to go, but it is, like I said, this is a 20-year-old t-shirt, and it wasn't in bad condition for its age, really. As you can see, I took a best offer on this one and I sold it for £25. But since I paid 50p, I was quite happy to take 25 quid for that t-shirt. So Ed Hardy, vintage Ed Hardy stuff is worth looking out for, particularly in clothing. You may remember these from the video where I picked them up. I picked them up simply because I liked them. They're a pair of K. Boyce prints, framed prints, limited edition. They've got their certificate of authenticity on the back there. And they're called Jessica and Chloe. When I went to search, I discovered that she'd done several in this series, and they all had different names. I just really loved them. I thought they were so nice. And when I first bought them, I thought, oh, I might keep those for me. I might put them up in my hallway gallery, as I call it, which is just the bit at the top of the stairs, really. When I then looked them up and discovered what they sold for, I decided I didn't like them enough to keep them, but I did like them enough to sell them. And as you can see, I accepted a best offer. These sold for £100. I paid £3 for the pair, £3 for the pair, and they sold for £100. I sweated packing these, I tell you. I was so determined they were going to get there in one piece, and they did get there in one, well, 2 pieces obviously, because there are 2 of them, but they did get there intact, and I did get feedback on that saying they'd been packed really, really well. So I should think so too. The hours of packing I put into these, it was worth it to make 100 quid out of 3 quid. This is another lovely sale. I was so pleased with this one. I picked up this Pyrex dish. Pyrex dish. I picked up this Pyrex dish in Devon when I was down visiting Caroline. I think that was the last time I went down there, maybe the time before. Not sure now. We went charity shopping and we found an animal charity shop that Caroline didn't know was there. I can't remember what the chain is now, but it was one that she didn't know was there. It was quite a big one. And you may remember me saying in the video about this one that I found the dish, and the dish had been marked at £2. And then on a different shelf on the other side of the shop, I found the lid, and I was like, okay, this is the lid to this dish. And I knew that it was a nice piece to pick up because it was vintage Pyrex, and I knew that some patterns are worth more than others, but I didn't know anything about this particular one. When I got it home and researched it, I discovered that this deep coral snowflake Gaiety vintage casserole dish is a rare one and is very sought after. It was not in mint condition. If you look here, you can see that there are a couple of nibbles along the edge there, but for the age of this must be 50, 60 years old now. Be 1960s to 70s, so yeah, 50 or 60 years old. For the age of that, that's pretty sound, and there were no chips in the glass, nothing wrong with the glass whatsoever. So this actually sold to the United States. I found in my research that an awful lot of the Pyrex that we sell in the UK goes over to the States. There are some really, really fierce Pyrex collectors over there, and it sold for £115 plus postage. Sent it off to the States on the eBay Global Shipping Programme. Just sat there with my fingers crossed that it would get there fine, and it did, and all was good. So I was really pleased. I don't think I told you, when I took it to the till, I said to the lady, you'd priced the dish at £2 and I found the lid somewhere else. Did you want to increase it a bit? And she said, we'll make it £3. So it cost me £3 and it sold for 115 plus postage. I could do with finding one of those every week. You may remember me mentioning this in a video as well. This is a Balenciaga miniskirt that I found in the Oxfam charity shop. It was priced at £6.99, and I would not normally spend £6.99 in a charity shop on one piece of clothing, but when I saw that it was Balenciaga and I could see that it was genuine as well, it wasn't faked, I thought, you know what, it's worth doing that. So it's a tweed kind of knit front in a blue and grey, and then it had a black plain back, and it sat for a long time. I priced it high. I priced it really high because I wasn't sure where to go on it, so I priced it really, really high at £69.99, and it sat and it sat and it sat. But I revised the price in February. I think I took the price down, because I think I first listed it at £79.99 and then I took the price down by a tenner, and I accepted an offer of £50 on this skirt and 50 quid for a skirt. Quite happy with that, quite happy. This is a Nigella Lawson Mezzaluna chopper. Try saying that when you're drunk, I can't say it sober. I picked it up brand new in its box, as you can see. I got a Facebook Marketplace pickup of 4 or 5 Nigella Lawson items. There's a huge pestle and mortar, which I've still got. There was some measuring cups, I think. There was this chopper. There was also a garlicky, choppery thing, gratery, choppery. As you can see, my keywords are on point as always. This sold for £20 on a best offer. The entire bundle cost me £20, I think. I paid £20 for the lot, and so this has brought me back the price of the bundle. Everything else in that bundle is just profit then. There's a pair of Clark's Unstructured Unelita shoes. The Clark's Unstructured shoes are definitely worth picking up. The little logo here, you can see that logo in the main picture. That's the one to look out for. A lot of Clark shoes are worth picking up. Don't get me wrong, I do very, very well with Clark shoes, but the Unstructured in particular, if you see them, they always seem to do well for me. And they all have names that begin with un, so these were Unelita. Blue leather slip-on ballet flats, and they sold for £34.99 plus post. I think I got them at the car boot sale, and I think I paid £2, maybe £3. Definitely from the car boot sale. This cost me a £5. This is a Sweaty Betty rucksack bag, and I wanted it for myself because I really liked the rose gold trim. I like the shape of it. It was made of the kind of fabric that wetsuits are made out of. What's that stuff called? Somebody knows. Somebody knows and will tell me. I can't think off the top of my head. But it was made of that, and I really liked it. But having used it for 2 days, I discovered it wasn't a good shape for me. It did. Some bags work for you, some bags don't. Maybe if you're a bag user watching this, you'll know what I mean. Some bags work for you, some don't. This one didn't work for me, and so I listed it, and again, it sold really, really quickly. Full price, £39.99. It's the first piece of Sweaty Betty I've ever found. I see Fake Rachel picking up Sweaty Betty all the time. This is the first piece I've ever found. It did sell quickly. I'll be really pleased if I ever find another one. This is an unusual one for me as well, because I don't normally buy things like this. These were really big alloy coat hooks, and when I say really big, I think they must have been 6 to 8 inches long. They were absolutely huge. They were quite heavy. I picked up 4. They came from the car boot sale, and it was 4 for a £5. And I am denied about whether to get them. And I thought, actually, they're really quite unusual. I will get them. Let me just hover over the pictures, see if I can find a bigger picture so you can get a better idea. There we go. So they were absolutely massive. You can see that my hand is in the picture. You can see how big they are. And they sat in a bag for ages because I wasn't quite sure, not how to list them. I know how to list on eBay, but you know, sometimes you look at stuff and you think, oh, I don't know what to call that. I don't know what keywords to use. I don't know what to, and they just kept shoving the bag to the back of the cupboard, and I pulled them out and did it. And when I finally listed them, they went within days of being listed. They sold for £22.50 on a best offer. £22.50 out of a £5. I will take that quite happily. Now this is one at the moment I saw this, I knew this was a good pickup. This was from Steve at the car boot sale. I paid £4 for this, I think maybe a £5. But it sold for £45.99. Sorry, it sold for £45 on a best offer. I listed it at £54.99. It sold for £45. It's a Pampered Chef stoneware muffin pan. Now you may look at that and think, oh, it's grubby, but actually in stoneware that is called seasoning, and the more seasoned an item is, the better use it will be for your baking. So a little bit of what would look like grub to you or I is a good thing in stoneware. And Pampered Chef stoneware is always worth picking up. It weighs a ton. It's stoneware, what do you expect? But it is always worth picking up. This is the second one of these I sold. The first one was only a 6 cup, and that sold for 25 quid, and this 12 cup has sold for 45 quid. Lovely jubbly. This time next year, Rodders will be millionaires. If I stop spending. This is another thing that I picked up in Devon with Caroline, I think on the same trip. Yeah, I think the same day as I got the Pyrex. So this came from a charity shop in Painter, I think it was. And it is a vintage 1980s Snatch the Dog metal waste paper basket. and it was £3, and I saw it. And I've sold Snatch the dog stuff quite a lot before. I've sold the duvet covers and whatever, and curtains, so I knew when I saw it that it was worth having. My only issue with this was, again, going to be getting it there in one place, in one piece, or rather not dented. So I packed it, I really packed the inside out with cardboard and newspaper, and then packed it so it was really, really well packed in the box before it went, and then put Fragile around it. I've started using Fragile tape. I never used to. I used to avoid using Fragile tape because I had this kind of idea that if angry couriers saw the word fragile, they would take their rage out on my parcel just out of sheer spite. But I started using Fragile tape a bit more recently, and this did get there safely. It did, and I think I paid, did I say £2 or £3 for this one? I think I paid £2.99 if I remember right. I remember the shop and I remember buying it. I think it was £2.99, and I sold it for £22.50, I think. No, it's 20. I sold it for £20 plus postage, so that was a nice sale. This is a mint velvet roll neck cashmere blend poncho stroke shawl, and I got this in Hitchin. When we went up to Hitchin in January for the reseller meetup, I went round the shops. I think I was with Jack and Heather, Jack Parrish and Heather the Treasure Pirate, and I went for a wander around the shops to get a bit of fresh air, and I spotted this in, I want to say, the PDSA. No, it wasn't. No, it was a funny little pop-up charity shop that we'd not been in before. That's where it was. And I think it was £4.99. I remember thinking, oh, I'll grab that. That's mint velvet. When I saw that it was cashmere, I was definitely taking it. £4.99. Sold for £49.99 really quickly. Almost as soon as I listed it, bang, out the door. So these particular mint velvet big poncho things are definitely in at the moment. Definitely worth picking up. Little set of 4 plates here. They are Barbara Furstenhofer. I beg your pardon, Barbara, if I'm mispronouncing you. I don't even know if she's still around anymore. I don't know who she was. But a little bit of research told me that these are Barbara Furstenhofer Wunsiedel Bavarian porcelain 4 seasons plates, and a lot of people had sold individual ones, singles. Some people had sold pairs, but nobody had sold a full set. So I thought I'd aim high, and I stuck them on at $49.99. They sat there for a little while, but then I took an offer of £45 on them. I think they came from a charity shop. I think I was with Josh when I bought them, because I'm sure I think I got them in Yate when I was with Josh. I can't remember how much. Not very much money. I wouldn't have paid a great deal because they were an unknown when I picked them up, unknown quantity when I picked them up. Wouldn't have paid a huge amount, but they probably appear in a charity shop haul somewhere. If you can be bothered to go back through days when I've been charity shopping with Josh, you'll probably find them in a haul. I certainly didn't pay £45, but that's what they've sold for. This one sat and sat and sat. I listed this for the first time. It says up here, June 14th, 2022, but that's not the first time I listed it. It's been listed way longer than that. I'm sure it has. And it's a vintage Marion Donaldson dress. It's very, very 80s in style, very late 70s, early 80s style. Really, you know, very classic for the era. Brand new with its tags, which was nice because to find an old dress like that, brand new with its tags. But it sold once and came back because of the vintage sizing being slightly off for the buyer. So it sold once and came winging its way back to me, and then it got relisted. And eventually, I think I took an offer on this one of £35. Might have been £36. So I think it was £36 because it made it £40 with the postage. And it's gone out and it hasn't come back this time, so it's not a homing pigeon this time. It came out of the sacks of bulk buy clothing that I get sometimes, and it cost me less than 50p. I bought this zebra label printer at the car boot sale for £3. It had this cable that I'm currently hovering over, this one here. It didn't have this little one, but luckily I had spares of that, so I was able to put that in, and I was able to turn it on and test it, and it was working fine. And did I already say that I think I paid £3 for it? But now I'm doubting myself, wondering if it was £5. I think it was £3. I think it was £3, might have been £5. It sold on a best offer, and it sold for £55 plus postage. This is an Airman tapestry kit, and this one is called the Reapers. I got this when I was with Lex, I think. Pretty sure I was with Lex when I picked this up. She might remember if I don't. It's weird. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know what I paid for it, but it wouldn't have been very much. Certainly wouldn't have paid more than a tenner. It sold for £90, and it went off on the global shipping program to Germany. I think it went back to Germany. So there we go. Airman tapestry kits are always worth picking up if you see them. This is the second one I've sold, and it's the second one that I've done really, really well on. This is an Emma Bridgewater travel document holder. You can see there's a little bit of discoloration just here. I don't know if I can show you properly. There's a little bit of discoloration just by the tag there, but apart from that, it was new and unused. And it's a strange thing. I would never personally think of paying £25 for something to carry my passport in on holiday. I've got pockets, I've got a handbag, but a lot of people do. I've sold several travel document wallets and done really well on them. So if you see them, they might be worth picking up. I'm not saying that any brand would be worth it, but certainly if you see something that is a popular brand anyway, like Emma Bridgewater, for example, then some people collect stuff. Maybe the person who bought this never intends to use it for traveling. Either way, I paid £2.99 for it at the charity shop, and it sold for £24.99 plus postage. And it went out as a large letter. And then this is the last one of my 20 over 20 for this video. It is Hans Christian Andersen's Fairy Tales from the Folio Society edition. This is a 1995 book. It was in beautiful condition. It had its slipcase, gorgeous illustrations, really lovely illustrations in there. It has sat for a long time. The reason I can tell it's sat for a long time is because my postage price has gone up since I listed this. This was listed with £3.85 postage, and I put mine up to £3.95 some time ago. But it has sold for, it sold on a best offer. For some reason this one doesn't say that, because all the others did, but it definitely sold on a best offer at £25 plus postage. This, I think, this book, I had a job lot of folio stuff, and I think this came within it. So it wouldn't have cost me very much, but it was a long, long time ago. That's it. That's the whole lot. Thank you so much for joining me for this 20 over 20 video. Hope I've shown you some different things that you might not have considered picking up before. Not much clothing in this one. I'm finding my clothing sales have dropped, but then my clothing listings have dropped as well. I'm very much branching out into other stuff more a bit. So hopefully you've seen some stuff in this video that you could find interesting, and maybe it'll be useful for you if you're trying reselling. Thank you again to EBL for sending me this handy little battery charger. That's going to be hugely useful to me. And if you're looking for rechargeable batteries, please do check out the link in the description box below. And my phone's ringing. Take care. Bye for now.